Welcome back to the Universe of Tech Hub. In this tutorial, we will learn about rendering concepts in React. First, we need to learn what is rendering. Rendering in React is the process of displaying components on the screen. It involves converting our component code. It is written in JSX into a actual HTML that the browser can understand. Think of it as think of rendering like a cooking a meal. You have a recipe, your component code, and when you follow it, you end up with a delicious dish, the rendered UI. Like for example, function greeting is rendered the hello world. Greeting component renders an H1 element with an text hello world, something like this. Next, we move on to the how rendering works in React. In React uses a JSX which looks like HTML but is actually JavaScript. It allows you to describe what the UI should look like. The render method, each React component has a render method or a return statement in functional components that specifies what display. Like after this, I'm sharing one code how it looks like. Next, we move on to the understanding the props and states. Coming into the props and state properties and states, the props is a sort of properties or input to a component. They allow you to pass data from one component to another components. Like a function greeting props, like it returns the hello, props dot name, something like this. Next one is state. The state is a way to manage the data that can change over a time within a components. It counter components. Counter components maintains a count states that updates when the button is clicked. So this is the state component. State is a way to manage the data that can change over the time within a components. Example for counter. Next, we move on to the re-rendering components. Like re-rendering, what does re-rendering happens? State changes. When the state of component changes, React re-renders that component to reflect the new state. Like in conditional rendering, carousels. In coming into the carousels, we click on it changes first slide, second slide, and third slide like that. In coming into the properties changes, if a parent component passes a new properties to a child components, the child will re-render with the new data. So this is the properties changes and the state changes. When does re-rendering happens, state changes and properties changes. When state changes, when the state of a component changes, React re-render that components to reflect the new state. When properties change, if a parent component passes a new properties to a child component, the child will re-render with the new data. This is what is re-rendering components. When does re-rendering happens? For example, if you click a button in the counter component, it updates the count states. It causing the component to re-render and display the new counts, right? So this is the example for re-rendering. Next one is the virtual DOM. The virtual DOM is a lightweight copy of the actual DOM. The React uses it to optimize rendering. The virtual DOM is a lightweight copy of the actual DOM. It React uses it to the optimize re-rendering. Like how it works, there is something how it works when a component state and props change. React updates the virtual DOM. When a component state and or properties change, React updates the virtual DOM first. It then compares the virtual DOM with the actual DOM. It compares with the virtual DOM with the actual DOM. A process called reconciliation. This process is called as reconciliation. and only updates the part of the DOM that have changed. Alright, so this is the what is the virtual DOM in this rendering. Like you think of the virtual DOM as a sketch of painting. Instead of painting directly on the canvas, something like it, something, you make changes to the sketch first, and then only apply the changes to the canvas like this. Next, we move to the what are all the advanced rendering concepts. The conditional rendering is the advanced concepts. You can render different components or elements based on certain conditions. It returns welcome back or please log in something like and listers and keys. When rendering listers of elements, you should provide a unique key properties to each element to help React identify which items have changed. This is the example for listers and keys in rendering. Like, for example, we take apple, banana, and cherry. They function as the fruits. It returns using a map, right? So, like, rendering is the process of displaying a component in React. JSX used to describe the UI. The props and state control what gets rendered when like the props and state work is what gets rendered and when, like that, and re-rendering occurs when state or props change. The state or props change when so that re-rendering when the re-rendering occurs. The virtual DOM optimizes the updates too. This is what is re-rendering or rendering, basics understanding of rendering in React. This is all about rendering concepts. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment in this video. Thank you for watching.